everyone, it's me, Joanne. Now, before we dive into today's episode, I want you to hit that subscribe button and give this episode a thumbs up. When I grow up, I want to be Sharon Au. She's smart, she's capable, and she's a Singaporean thriving in Paris, a city that many of us dream about, but few truly conquer. Sharon's journey hasn't been easy. She's openly shared about her challenging childhood and her estranged relationship with her mother, a relationship that she's since reconciled. Many of us remember her as the charismatic host and performer who's won numerous awards during her time in showbiz. At the peak of her career, she decided to leave it all behind to pursue further studies in Tokyo on a scholarship offered by Mediacorp. After returning, she seamlessly transitioned from being in front of the camera to slaying it in the corporate sector at Mediacorp. Whether it was learning the ropes in technology, development, spearheading innovative projects like Style by Style, or taking the reins as publisher for Elle Singapore, Sharon has continually pushed boundaries and redefined success. She's a household name, and for those of us who grew up watching her, we know she's faced her fair share of trials and tribulations. From staging a fake marriage to escape societal pressures, to quitting her corporate career at its peak, and then moving to Paris where she reinvented herself as an investment director. Only to have her home burglared, Sharon has lived a life of remarkable highs and challenging lows. Now, you know what? I've always watched her from the sides, and I watch her with awe and wonder at how she does it all. But of course, what do I know? That's why I'm so thrilled and honored to have her here with me today in the studio for a heart-to-heart conversation. Hi, Sharon. I'm so excited that you can finally make it this season and join me on this exciting new project I've always been doing, right? And I think there's so much that we can talk about, and there's also so much that you've spoken before. So for this particular episode, there are certain things that I suppose I want to pick out for you to expand on it a little bit more. Okay?
For us to laugh about it all over again.
Maybe in that sense, because I think sometimes, when you have interviews, they don't really get you to talk a little bit deeper in those things, but this is all about that, right, for us. And I think you've seen how I've done the chats before.
I've been listening.
Okay, so one of the things that when I was listening to one of your interviews, you said something about there's a burden being Sharon. Yes. So I think this is something that I've always wanted to talk to you about because, we are in the same industry. Let's hear it from you first. Like, what do you mean when you say there's burden being Sharon?
It started in 2005 when I first started a personal blog because I just left Mediacorp to go to Tokyo to pursue my undergraduate degree. And I remember that time there was a Scene MSN and they said, oh, Sharon, can you start a blog? I remember shortly after me, you started a blog too.
Okay.
You started to write. So we started to create content already for Mediacorp. And I remember being Sharon Au was my first hashtag. Because at that point in time, in 2005, I just turned 30. And there were a lot of self-imposed burden and responsibilities I put on my shoulder.
Like what?
Like how to be a good role model to my fans.
Okay.
These are all self-imposed. Nobody wrote to me and say, wow, you are my role model. I self-imagined that my fans who had watched me grow up on TV now watch me graduate to go to school. And I hope that they would be inspired by me to pursue academic intelligence.
Right.
Apart from other passion. So I had that very high moral standing kind of social cause. In hindsight, that was 30. Now I'm 49. Now I think about it, I'm like, who are you to think that you are inspiring to your fans? They probably they're probably sad that you sort of retired from the industry and left. But it would be shortly after, like in 3 months' time, they would have forgotten, they would have moved on to the next up and coming host. So, but wow. Now we know when we are young, we think so highly of ourselves.
Right.
Maybe not you. I really thought highly of myself, But now, luckily, fortunately, I hope is slowly fading. I'm slowly shedding that pretense that I can truly just be Sharon Au, flawed, maybe a bit epic fail, and still be adored.
Actually, how come you have all these thoughts in your head? Like you feel like you need to
no idea.
inspire.
I okay, maybe I have some idea. because when we first entered the entertainment industry, we were told to be a certain type. So I remember when I first came in to helm the variety show, I have to be clean cut, girl next door, inspiring, 阳光, sunny, sunshine, agreeable, a family figure. So this was the image set for me.
Cool.
So I remember
I didn't know that.
And I remember I just turned 20. So I couldn't even sign my employment contract by myself. I'm sure you had the same experience. My mother followed me. And then after signing the contract, I remember my boss then, Mr. Man, said, okay, from now onwards, no clubbing. So fortunately, I don't club, but I do go to, at that time was I think Zouk or was it Velvet Underground? Yes, or Sparks or something. I do join my colleagues because I was a flight attendant. So we do go to clubs. Yeah. So he said, no clubbing because no one can see you club. And then next morning, hi, 大家好. So, okay, change your lifestyle. So you see, your first day of employment, you're already given an image, And at that time, I remember my starting pay was $1,500. Okay, it was such a huge reduction because Singapore Airlines at that time, we were at our peak. So a month I can bring home about 4,500 to 5,000. Suddenly I dropped to 2,500. Never mind. Cannot take public transport.
Huh?
So I had to take taxi.
What?
$1,500, take taxi, buy makeup, cannot repeat clothes, and then must be clean cut girl next door with good hair and makeup.
Well, aren't you glad there was no social media then? Because imagine if there was social media, then it's like you cannot, this cannot, that, it will be worse, isn't it?
Yes. And I tell you, even if there were social media, we would have been told that we were prohibited from posting or from revealing all these trade secrets.
Right.
Yes.
But people would be able to snap you. Oh, you're wearing the same jacket again.
Cannot. Luckily, I was young enough to be sunny, sunshine. So the agreeable, the laughing, the family role model could. But then at the same time, you are at a point where you're growing up. So you try and create this thing that will please your bosses, would please the audience. And of course, then that would get you very far. You will get more jobs. You'll get more opportunities. So all of us were trying to be that.
Very interesting you say this because I also heard from one of your interviews, right? That because when you were young, you also shuffled, from relative to relative.
Yes,
you didn't have your own home.
Yes.
And one of the things that you said, I thought was very, it's like, how come this young child can think this way, which was that you wanted to make sure that you were indispensable. You wanted to make yourself useful, right? So you wanted to, in that sense, please.
Yeah.
Right? So it sounds to me like all your life, I mean, until that point, right, that you're sharing with your first job in Mediacorp, is that you always have to people please.
I always have to please because it was very tiresome to move year after year. You just settled down in that neighborhood with your limited belongings, but the getting used to a new family was not easy. So you try not to be told to move. So yes, the indispensable way. So I found a few tricks. So you always make sure you do all the housework.
Yes.
So that you do all the housework chores. So that they find you very useful and you always try to get out of the way as well. So after you do all the useful stuff, you try and be invisible and blend into the wall.
I mean, so survival is so
right from the
my
youth.
Just exactly.
Yes.
You probably can't learn it until you are put in that spot, and then you just
So that's why from very young I've already heard criticisms, which now in hindsight I look at it, I would have said the same thing about this girl, which is this girl is very fake. People could tell because this girl is always trying to be something and always trying to be happy, trying to be useful, trying to be needed.
Right.
And then suddenly then she will hide somewhere and be invisible.
So how do you deal with this? People saying you're fake.
Oh, I hear it right from primary 1.
Huh?
Yes.
What?
Because primary 1 already, because you see my whole family my relatives are also not very well to do.
Right.
So to be chucked there and for them to be taking care of an extra person when they are already going through quite a harsh and difficult financial situation. It's not easy as well. So you can feel it, as a child, you are very, very sensitive to whether you're welcome or not.
Wow.
And you're also very sensitive when they pass certain remarks like, your parents just don't come and then never send money. You can hear things like that.
Right.
Yeah. So I was very skinny. You know why? Because I also watch what I eat. We cannot eat too much of
what
the food.
should be there.
Yes.
Yep.
So when you go to school, I wanted nobody to know I came from that kind of background. So I pretended to be another person. I pretended to be like my neighbor. So I watched how a normal child is like when they have their whole family doting on them. So I think the pretense must have been so obvious. But at that time, I thought I was very good in acting,
Primary 1.
Primary 1 already started.
And you mean like your classmates say you're fake? Or
then after that, you realize that you don't really have many friends. Because they all grouped to one side during recess time.
Right.
And then they don't want to play with you. And then you hear like, they say, this one very fake one. Always pretend this and that.
And how did you cope? I mean, it sounds to me like you're dealing with so much already. How do you cope emotionally? And, we talk about mental health and all that. Like, how do you cope with it?
Luckily, that time, we didn't know anything about mental health or, depression. Even this word didn't exist in our dictionary.
Yeah.
So luckily, I just live with it. And I just keep on praying that I grow up quickly so that I get out, I can be independent and don't have to pretend anymore. Yeah. The survival instinct was very evident. From young, I needed to survive.
And then fast forward when you were, in your job as well. I'm sure.
Pretend all the way. So pretended all the way to TCS,
Oh my goodness.
And I thought, that time you wouldn't feel it.
You didn't even know you're pretending.
Yeah.
It was just like a muscle memory thing.
Yes, Singapore Airlines was really brilliant because it continued the whole education of being the perfect Singapore girl.
Yes.
Coffee, tea,
yes.
do you like blanket?
Right.
Can I carry your baby? We were told to do all that. So naturally, I morphed into TCS. Oh, must be girl next door. Okay, continue. So the smile was always there. I remember people kept saying like, you never stop smiling one, right? Do you ever stop smiling? So I say, I cannot stop smiling because once I stop smiling, the real
RBF comes, is it?
No, I don't have RBF. I have a tragic face. People always say, why is your face so 苦瓜脸? You have a very bitter God face. Is your life that bitter? Then I realized, actually, it is.
How else has this childhood shaped you when you were working?
Okay, it made me very fake. Then I'm always very insecure. I always feel that I'm not very wanted. So I think then you overcompensate by trying to be very, very funny. So I always crack jokes so that people find me entertaining. So I became by and by the clown. And when people call me the clown, I didn't realize that it was actually insinuating. It was not a flattery, it was not a compliment. But then I welcomed being the clown because to me, that means I'm very funny. So I guess that was also how I became a comedian.
Right.
Because I realized when you say something funny and people laugh, suddenly you became the center of attention and like people sort of adored you. That time you couldn't differentiate whether people is adoring you or laughing at you, right?
Right, yes. So that craving for love.
And attention. Yes.
How long has that been, that crave for love and attention?
Actually throughout
your career?
Throughout my career, even towards the more mature part of my career where you sort of, maybe you feel that you have already earned your accolades, I was still craving for attention. So even the last day of my day in Mediacorp, before I left for Tokyo, I think I was still a very attention-seeking person.
So going to Tokyo wasn't an attention-seeking move, right?
Yeah, it was, I didn't want to leave, actually. But it's very embarrassing, but I didn't want to leave. But I already signed the scholarship agreement and it had an expiry date. So I actually, if you remember, I drag every year.
Yes.
Yeah. 8 Days editor will remember.
Really? No, you really want to go. You don't want to go.
Because 8 days every year. Okay, Sharon is leaving. Wow. Put her on the cover.
Yeah.
Put her on the cover. Goodbye, Sharon Au leaves for New York. New York was the first intention, first destination. Because we signed up for NYU Tisch School of Arts. So I remember the first cover, goodbye. And then I said, I already short cover, already news came out, big book, goodbye. I didn't go. And the 8 days is like, shit, this happened for 4 consecutive years, until the 5th year, which is the expiry year, which if you don't use your scholarship by that year, you forfeit.
Right.
So I remember that last cover, the editor said, Sharon, you better leave. Okay, my magazine is losing credibility. We already 4 consecutive years say you're leaving. Somehow it's not just 8 days, I can also.
Yeah.
In tandem, 2 covers come out, right?
Yeah.
I didn't want to leave because I was enjoying. I told you that was the later part, mature, where you start to win many awards and you become like sort of like the Artie, or maybe I imagine I'm not Artie. No, I became quite,
you were the Artie of the 主持界.
Yes.
Of the hosting.
So you become very comfortable. You're earning your dues. You sort of can command. I remember I could command my own personal assistant. So you become a bit like very egoistic and very very the Zoe Tay of
of
entertainment.
The hosting side.
Yeah. So I didn't want to let go of that perk.
Right.
Yeah, but they must go already. So I remember I was thinking like, oh my God, why is my life like that? Why can't I enjoy more years of glory? Then I go and be a student for what, I remember a fan came to me and like, hey, Sharon, you cannot postpone because why you do this? You can study anytime, But now when you're finally able to contribute more, because you have gained so much from the industry, now you can finally contribute more, then you leave. I remember also Jack Neal also said the same thing. But I told myself, no, I didn't want to forfeit such a good deal. That to me was the biggest reward of my entire career, to be given a free whole scholarship to go to a school of your choice, any country of your choice, and all expenses paid. Yeah, so that's why I went. I went to Tokyo, couldn't understand a single word because they were speaking too fast and in that colloquial term. So I felt very lonely. Also, suddenly you also feel a lot of like discomfort. So I found a way. So I called up my manager. At that time was Lian Hui, right?
Yes.
I called her, Lian Hui, hey, can I come back? And come back. But I found a solution. I said, you help me plan this press release and say that 群众要求, the audience miss and love Sharon Au so much, need her to fly back,
Don't want her to study.
Don't want her to study because now on TV, they miss Sharon
Cannot
Au.
find any other host to replace her. She's the best.
Can you release this so that I can fly back righteously? I can justify, and it's not that
you cannot make it.
I cannot make it and come back, right? And I don't know what was her expression, but her voice was like, you xiao, you hello. I already told you, don't go. Now you go. Then now you go already. You want to come back with a stupid excuse.
You sound exactly like her.
Right?
But okay.
Right? Remember, it's like that. Now you want to come up with this stupid story. By the way, nobody asked for you. Nobody. We didn't receive a single fan letter saying that they miss you. You're the best. Okay. I was like, shit. I really come up with this wonderful,
crushing to
story.
your ego,
So you really don't want me to come back. I can come back. At that time, wow, what a blow to my
ego.
whole entire ego and being and self-worth. So point of no return, continued.
I wanted to say that sometimes we don't really know when is the best time to pivot.
Yeah.
Right? Because I'm sure there are also listeners now who would feel that, I'm at this crossroads, right? I know I'm maybe my job is not that bad.
Yeah.
But then maybe I'm feeling a little bit like I want to try something else. And then, that courage to step out. Like you did, like people will look at you and go like, wow, you're so brave.
Yeah.
You were so good. You were like, you had all this going for you. And then you just leave and you just let it all behind. Like on the outside, you were so fearless.
Yeah.
Look at you.
But hear the tremor in my voice. The fearless was only on Instagram.
On the outside.
Now it's very fearful.
Yeah, but the thing is, but look at what, where it took you and what you gained out of it.
Yes.
So sometimes I feel like, people always give you advice and tell you like, oh, maybe you shouldn't do this now. You should. But then it's good that you had no choice at that point in time. If you had a choice, you might not have gone for it. But the fact that I think you didn't have a choice.
Yeah.
But there's also that instinctive part of you who decided that
it's too good to give up on this.
It's very hard, 4 years. You're 6 years of education, 6 years not being in the limelight.
Yeah.
Right. And before you're like,
and I missed it. And
your fear of like, will people forget who is Sharon Au?
Oh, yes, all the time.
Right.
And you feel very left out.
So what kept you sort of focused?
I think after that, slowly it was the new environment that was very attractive to a person who's when you're very attuned to wanting to change and reinvent yourself to sort of get a better life, to make my mother proud in other ways. I know she's really very proud of me at that time. But I wanted her to be able to boast about having a graduate at home, because I think I must be one of the few rare ones in the Ong family who is not graduate. So I felt to see that insecurity and that self-worth. I had very low self-esteem. I needed that paper qualification. I wanted to be a graduate at least. And then there was no pretense, because at that time nobody knew who I was. So there was no baggage. So very soon
no burden of Sharon Au.
Yes. I remember I can just squat by the street and laugh and laugh at my classmates who were drunk. So all these things, it made me very light. Yeah.
And after that, you came back and then you joined the business side. You were no longer in front of the camera.
Yes,
it was
and
a choice.
I asked for it. It was a choice. Yeah, I fought for it. And it was a very, very tough fight, because everything was planned for me already. The whole, I remember I came back in 2011. The entire 2011, my schedule was out all the way from National Day Parade, big and small variety shows. It was really planned. So, but I changed my mind when I arrived to tell them that I want to be transferred to the corporate side, and I didn't mind starting from zero. But then that shift again, it was suddenly again back to very, very basic zero. I met another barrier where I felt that, wow, next time don't be so...
Gekiang.
Yeah, yes, that's the word, Okay, so I went back and start from, I remember they planted me in the most basic but most important department, technology. So technology, and you start from executive level, which is the lowest level, which is a fresh grad level, because they cannot play favorites. Cannot be Sharon Au, then suddenly you come in, you have your own room. No. You come in, you're a fresh grad. So I sat in a cubicle with everyone else. Cubicle, very open. I remember the first month. Every day there were people walk past to look at me, I'm not kidding. No, I'm not bragging as well. It's cute to say it now, but at that time, I was very embarrassed. Because I was already embarrassed that I'm in an open space. I thought I would have my own room. I don't know what give me that
self-entitlement.
Who gets your own room? You think you're VP. Then there were people walk past and then look, and then there were people calling my colleagues to see if I'm at my desk so that they can come.
Right.
So there's a lot of looking.
So were your colleagues very annoyed? Like,
no, my colleagues also do the same thing. And then there are a lot of photo taking.
Right.
So you think you can put down the Sharon Au? No, every day eyelashes,
makeup,
full makeup. Macam I going to studio. No, actually it's just go there and Wow. So I remember I was so embarrassed and very self-conscious, very, very conscious. So much so that I didn't even dare to go to the canteen during lunchtime.
Wow.
Yeah, cannot go canteen, cannot. That's it. So I always pretend I'm not hungry. But actually my stomach growling like mad. So I stay at the cubicle and not move until everybody moved. Then I take out my biscuit and eat. Because very embarrassing. Wow. So that was a huge learning curve. I overcome that maybe I think after 6 to 9 months. When I've just decided that
you were too hungry.
Yeah, just go to the canteen. Really, just go and eat already. Don't care already. So you get used to the why? Because people will not know that you have changed your job destination. They will always go like, hey, what are you doing now? Which show? You're back already? Finally, waited for you, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, but actually I was in technology learning the fundamentals of TV works. And that really opened my eye. I'm so glad I was able to have that opportunity, because what we learned prior was everything in front of the camera, and all we need to do is to make sure this part is well done. But I didn't know about the transmission, the complexity of a transmission of a live TV show, especially when it's an outdoor OB. So technology was all about that. And at that time, we were at the cusp where we were going digital. So there were many, many possibilities. So even though I was with a group of veterans, and they were all, they have all worked in Mediacorp for 30 to 40 years, but because they were also learning something new, so the whole dynamics was very exciting.
Right.
Yeah. So when I started to not be so self-conscious and then be very, very enchanted by the real work of TV, that was when the joy started. Yeah, I remember then I really, really, really felt that I made the right choice.
Okay, then let's move on to the fact that you also then, in one interview, I think you said you ran away to Paris.
Oh,
right? Because you, again, doing so well in your corporate job now.
Yeah.
And then there you go, dropping everything, running away again.
Yes.
And I think I remember you mentioned something about how it was also challenging. Some of the ideas were not maybe not appreciated. And you talked about how in Paris, like a woman's intelligence or wisdom is valued. Do you feel that it's not here locally?
Wow. Yeah, I feel that we don't celebrate someone's worth that much here. Maybe it boils down to not the company, but it boils down to individual. So if you happen to work with someone who is very wary of you, so naturally your ideas will be very, very suppressed. And everything you say would just be rubbish. Because they just want you to shut up. So I ran into that problem because maybe I was too vocal, too eloquent. But you see, in Asian setting, you see, these kind of comments will come out, which is, I tell you, it is very warped to say, hey, am I too vocal, too eloquent?
Yes.
You see, you're censoring yourself, because wherever that happened, you go like, okay, then maybe it's my fault. I was too noisy. But of course, I want to shift my perspective now of what I've been observing and since moving to Paris is you can be as vocal as you want because if you don't speak up, you lose out. Nobody knows what you're thinking. They will naturally just conclude that you're stupid. Whereas if you speak up and all that, you give people a chance to either rebut, confront, shoot you down, or combust. So you have more ideas. So, and then when if it happens to be a good idea or a good initiative, people celebrate, very strange. Even when the colleagues, even when you don't get along, but if your idea is workable, they celebrate it. So it's not you anymore. It's what you put to the table, give to the table.
Wow.
So I got that sense working in a European environment.
Right.
Yeah. So I cannot also generalize stuff. Maybe there are also companies in Europe with absolutely the same as Singapore.
With maybe perhaps gender discrimination as well.
Yes.
Right?
But this is my limited interaction with the few companies that I have had the chance to work with. So that was my feel. So I left hoping to see what I can give. Because in that short time when I was working for L, I had the chance to also immerse myself in the L quarter, HQ, which was in Paris. That was my first inkling, first sight of what a creative environment can be like if they embrace.
Right.
If there's no like, you are too vocal, can you just shut up? Yeah. Okay. Then I realized, hey, very exciting. So I wanted to bring that kind of excitement and women's power, empowerment, because we were all about empowerment. But last time I remember the hashtag always empowerment until I felt like you're just saying, but you're not practicing it. Because when I come back with empowerment, you just tell me to shut up. Yeah. So which was what happened. I came back and I copied so many ideas. And I said, these are all ideas copied, not mine. I actually gave credit to the different magazines and that I've learned from. Copied, done, tried, successful. Let's do it. Wow. It didn't meet with the right response that I was expecting. Yeah. So I don't want to say that my talent wasn't recognized. I just felt that, okay, maybe it was a good thing that happened then. Because it forced me to leave that wonderful position of being L publisher and top of the world to resign and then to start from zero again. Okay, so this part is always the part that I get letters and messages where people say, you're so brave. So I want to maybe reveal here, at that point, it really wasn't bravery. I left in tears. I left in fear. I left without a job. I left without knowing that I was even going to Paris. I just left and it was just nothing. And I lost all my power and privilege.
And did you feel that, you got it in Paris?
Yes. In the first few months, for sure. Even though I had a friend, that friend really helped to cushion. She was my safety net, but still the whole learning of the French language. And French people are very arrogant, romantically so, but still, arrogant. So not easy to get along. You're never very included. So in the beginning, the romance soon died off very quickly. The whole, Louvre, Notre Dame, Within the first year, Notre Dame, then burn, fire. So, it's very fast. All your image would become very harsh reality very, very soon. And then, Paris, and very smelly, very dirty. And then, Paris, robbed on the train, So it was very real. It was real. But and also I think I need to also reveal here so that people will not get a too romanticized idea about, wow, just packing up and move. Wow, so easy. Sharon Au did it, and wow, just don't be afraid, be fearless. No. Because I also did that because I was too proud to stay in Singapore and look for a job. I didn't know how I could start sending out resumes in Singapore because I feel that people already know me. Sharon Au, but work in Mediacorp, right? Already. Our publisher and so I had that to overcome.
But that was your assumptions.
I assume,
by the way, right?
Actually, maybe nobody. Actually, nobody.
Maybe everybody will be like, "Oh my goodness, Sharon is coming. She's such a gem. We want her." But there you are going like, Sharon. Oh, you were assuming
I assume
that direction.
See, all the assumptions. I really imposed myself a lot of self-importance. Actually, you're right. Nobody actually could. Maybe people look at the.
I'm saying people could be appreciating your resume and feeling like, hey,
right,
you're a gem to have,
right,
and not going like, she no job, then she want to come and find job with me. Right?
I was very self-conscious and shy about that.
That's insecurity.
Insecurity about sending out resumes in Singapore and people look at your Sharon Au name. So that was one way I had to get out of Singapore so that I send resumes to people who don't know me so people wouldn't judge, you see.
It's very strange though, because your resume would also say that, you're in all these very, high-flying positions and then...
But going for interview is very embarrassing. I mean, so you see,
at that time,
so strange. I have qualms about and fears about going for a real life interview because you realize I never had to interview for anything. I had never had
never had to audition, never had to interview,
never had to be so raw and vulnerable.
Right.
Never. So you see, I escaped. So actually, it was a form of escapism. Right. It's just that on Instagram, it looked like I did things fearlessly.
Again, because you couldn't let people know the truth
can't.
at that time,
Yes,
right? Just like how you didn't let people know about your Tokyo, that you actually wanted to come back.
Yes, yeah.
Hey there! If you're loving the episode so far, please give the video a like on YouTube and give us a 5 stars on Spotify. Your support helps us to make even better content for you. Thanks for tuning in, and let's jump right back into the episode. So, of course, we all know that it wasn't all that beautiful because your house was burglared
2 years ago
in Paris.
Yeah, April 30th.
And maybe because you were not ready to talk about it for a while now, would you be open to sharing that experience now?
It shattered my worldview for a while. It threw me into an abyss where I was in a very dark place. And I think for the first time in my life, I realized there are evil people in the world. So there are bad people. Because never have I met anyone who is bad. So to have your privacy, to have your home space invaded, toppled, turned upside down, visually was such a shock that shock remained for a very long time, a trauma in my mental state. It didn't go straight to the, you lose everything, you can start life anew, you start to have a new revelation. No. It was a very long time of being very wounded, hurt, injured, and disillusioned. with not just Paris alone, but with why this happened to you. Yeah. So the whole why did it happen to me was something that was very haunting me in my daytime, haunting me also in my dreams. So I would have nightmares of the burglaries happening and in different intensities. Sometimes I will be at home, sometimes I will not be at home. And then in the daytime, I would be very paranoid of things.
So for the context, maybe you want to let our listeners know about like how common it is or uncommon it is, and like, you know, burglaries that happen in Paris.
It's so common that when the police came, the police was very nonchalant because the police very quickly established, aha, nobody died. That was the first thing they said. And aha, your cat is alive and still there meowing, looking at us. You are very lucky.
Okay.
And you are in tears, you are in shock. They tell you are already very lucky. And then they start to tell you stories of like, you know why you're lucky? Because usually the cat will be in the washing machine turning.
My God.
And usually you will be home, you will be hurt, injured, or tied up. They have many cases where the robbers entered, the burglars entered, tied the people inside. And sometimes they hurt them, sometimes they don't hurt them, and still take away everything. So to the police perspective, you are a very blessed burglary case.
Right.
Because you're not home and your cat didn't run away and is alive and not hurt. And already that time, many friends already tell me, just leave already. And I told myself, actually, this would be the best time to pack up and go back to Singapore because already nothing very much to pack. And you also don't want to pack those things that they step all over. So it's the best time to just leave.
So why didn't you pack up and come home?
I couldn't just leave. I needed to make sure my cat is well vaccinated, get all the papers, all the checkups. So it cannot just happen.
You can't just drop and go, in other words.
Yes. Okay. So all those things delayed my departure, but at the same time, it gave me time to heal. Although it didn't heal within that month, but at least it gave me time to slowly just breathe and not be so hysterical. I was very hysterical. Every day, cry, break down, stare into space, look at the ceiling, cry. So like I was in a wreck. So it gave me time to get out of, first of all, that hysteria and not feel so sorry about myself. Because then later on, you can start to really listen to your friends when they started to say, please seek help, please talk to someone, you know.
How do you feel about Paris now?
Mixed feelings, very complex. But before that, I was actually actively looking to purchase an apartment. I don't want to rent forever. I wanted to settle there and buy an apartment. But ever since that burglary, I gave up on that. I stopped.
Killed the thought.
I killed the thought. I told my property agent, okay, not happening. So it doesn't mean that I've become so paranoid of the city that I don't enjoy its beauty already. So there's always many sides to a tragedy or to an incident that happens in your life. There will always be something that is very awful, but then you will also gain something, I guess.
You always do, whether you realize it or not.
Yeah. I'm not so sure what I gained from the burglary. And I also wanted to say something that is, you know, very moral, high standing, so that it can be a good lesson. But I realized it's not. Because actually I wanted to say, when you lose everything, you realize all these things don't matter. These are all worldly goods. You realize you lost it and it didn't matter.
But it mattered to you.
It mattered a lot. It mattered a lot. Even though they are worldly possessions, even though you can buy them again, even though they're just bags, they're just watches, it mattered. I don't know how to say it. Maybe it's sentimental value. Maybe you saved up a lot to buy something. Don't underestimate worldly possessions because it also represented your success at some point. So those bags that were stolen, they were all vintage antiques because I bought them when I was in Mediacorp, when I was earning a lot of money, and it was a rite of passage. You earn enough to give yourself that kind of reward, and it's still there. Then they took it away, and suddenly I felt like as if I hadn't done all that, you know. Yeah. So it didn't make me feel like, okay, now I can live with nothing. Not true. Not true.
But then again, also because from what you said, right, that marked maybe a significant time
Yes.
in your life. You
Yeah,
know,
it's milestones.
Yeah, all the milestones. And that's why even if you were to go and buy back the same, but it's not the same meaning anymore. It doesn't hold that same value.
Correct.
In that sense, the value we're talking about is that whatever that period of time was to you. And that's why it was a real struggle for you.
Yes.
When you lost it.
Yes.
It's like...
And it was impossible to confide that to anyone without feeling that you're going to be judged. So that I couldn't even word it. I was afraid that my therapists would laugh at me or would judge me. Even if I tell my best friends, they were like, wow, why are you so shallow? I thought you're better than that. Aren't you very... very mature, aren't you very Parisian now, c'est la vie.
Oh dear.
I thought, you keep writing all those very inspirational captions, inspiring people to, move on. Then you yourself now lose one back cry until like that, So, wow, couldn't say it. But every night, think about it.
Have you ever had like a mentor or like someone who...
I used to have. Then, you move out of your mentors as well.
Yes.
Because you grew older. You also... become you move out of relationships. So I don't have a mentor currently.
Speaking of relationships, have you found love?
Oh, not yet. So it's tougher than I thought. I thought if you still look attractive, and especially you're in Europe, where they adore older women, look at our President Macron, like I thought it would not be a problem. Actually, I've not met anyone. Nobody had come up to me in recent years to say anything remotely like, can we, get to know you? Nobody, The last time I remember someone coming up to me, it was in 2009. I was in my 30s.
And what was that pickup line?
It was like, can I join you? You look so beautiful. I cannot help but, can I join you? Wow. So I thought this kind of invitations and adoration and will continue. But no. So my advice actually, don't wait too long. You think you are going to be very sought after. But maybe sometimes, again, many ships have sailed for me, and this is one of them,
So, I wanted to bring this little history back, which was you faking your marriage. Because it's about, this women, because you talked about why you did it. And you said that one of the things that you said, it just seems like it's the happy ending for a woman. And so this is the thing that I really want to talk about, because, your perception that for a woman, getting married, is that a happy ending? Is that how you see it?
No, so I definitely I don't agree with that. But I don't know why all my life people are asking me about my relationship, and I met with someone, and why am I not married yet? So when it got really, really bad when I came back from Japan. So I was in my 30s already. So as I was getting my footing in my career and life, every time I meet a journalist or anytime there's a kind of media report about my work, it will always be overshadowed by the fact that I'm still single and not seeing anyone. That will always take up the bulk of the story. And then I realized that nobody actually
cared about your work.
My work. And not that my work is impressive, that you need to write a full page about it, but every interview always skewed towards the fact that why in her 30s she's still single? What is she looking for? So the story is always circling around that. And I realized, people need a happy ending. That means I cannot just be single, successful or climbing the ropes. I need to also be settled down. So wow, I didn't set off to want to lie about me getting married, but I remember it was 2014 and it was a Star Awards shoot and I was in a bridal gown. Actually, it wasn't meant to be a bridal shoot. It's just that for the red carpet, for that poster shot, I was put in a bridal gown. So I remember the journalist coming up to me and go like, wow, you're wearing a bridal gown, so beautiful. You're such a beautiful bride. And I don't know how, then it led to, I don't know how I started to lie. And then because I started to ask them, so are you seeing someone? So I said, yeah, actually I'm married. And because at that time, I bought myself, you see, before Miley Cyrus sang about, I can buy myself flowers, I already bought myself diamond rings, I was wearing a diamond ring, but because it was the wrong size, so I was wearing it on my ring finger. So I was wearing a bridal gown, ring finger, some more diamonds, very big, bought by myself. So wow, it just rolled, I was on the roll, I just like about, actually I'm married already. See, wedding ring, Wow. Headline, big story. And it worked and it was worth it. You know why? After that, nobody asked me anymore about your relationship and whether you're married or not. After that, wow, all the attention was on my Style by Style, the website, my work, everything. So they focused on my work already.
When I was in the industry as well, right?
Yes.
You always get the questions when, are you seeing someone? I mean, that's the gossipy part of it. Are you seeing someone? And then after you see someone and then when are you getting married? That's the next question. And then when you get married, for me, it's like, when are you having kids? And to be honest, when I was with my husband, I also didn't, we were very conscious about it. It's like, all of a sudden, all the attention is just on this union and not on our profession. It's not about our craft anymore. It doesn't matter how good an actor or actress you are. It's like, it's just them. So I was also very protective of that. Because, we want people to recognize us for our whole, right? That we also have our work. We are also very good at what we do. At the same time, relationship is just part of it. But the media always tends to overplay, at least at that point in time, because we didn't have our own social media and narrative. It wasn't so strong. But back then, it was really, whatever the media wants to say, you're at their mercy. So I feel you, I feel you about this, like, a woman must have a partner and then must get married. And then after that, when are you having kids?
Yeah.
And then when you have a kid, like, when are you having the next one?
Yeah.
And then when you have the next one, it's like, are you having a third one? It's like, can you ask me about something else?
Yes.
Right?
But so I understand. It's just that sometimes people are not sensitive enough to see it from our point of view, where we also want to be recognized for other things.
Right.
And because at that point I was really very, very single and wasn't seeing anyone. I also felt all your questions also will start to make me feel that something is wrong with me,
Yeah, that's also because of your past,
Yes.
that where you hold a lot of all these, insecurities and fear.
I'm not good enough. Everybody has a boyfriend.
Yeah.
Everybody has someone.
Everyone has a happy family and you don't have one.
Yeah, or at least everyone is going towards a marriage path. Then I don't have. So all your questionings also make me feel that, oh no, you see, it forced me to lie. It's very embarrassing, even until now, 10 years have passed, to know that once upon a time I lied about, I had to lie about my marriage status. And then that diamond ring was there forever because I cannot take out already. And, actually I bought it myself, So it's so funny. And of course, the lie had to come to light 4 years later in 2018, where I had to move to Paris. And a very sharp journalist, kudos to him, he asked the sharpest question. Hey, you moved to Paris, Your husband, Your husband, stay here or move with you? Oh, at that point, tongue-tied.
I mean, you could have just said, moving with me and full stop.
No, I don't know. I think I was caught. And I realized this lie, if I'm going to continue, is going to be quite fatal. Because then you will start to not
lose track of of the facts. Or the lies.
The lies. Then everything is not going to make sense. And then I think you're going to get very confused already. And I was really in a very confused crossroads. So I wasn't quick enough on my feet to come up with a new lie. So I just looked blur and just burst out saying, 明华，我骗你的。
Better come clean.
I lied. Actually, 我没有结婚，自己买的。I remember like, what?
But weren't you afraid that it would shake your credibility?
Yeah, no,
people?
but it came out already. Again, then it also came out too fast. Yeah, so wow. Yes, the whole like, oh my God, whoever is going to read it, whole Singapore is going to laugh at me. He's going to say I'm a liar and credibility, Wow, this person has been putting up such a fake personality facade to even have to lie about her marriage status. How insecure can you be? But it came out. So very happily, I packed, ran to Paris, hide.
I mean, there's so much that we want to talk about, and I really want to talk about this insecurity as well, because you're back this time also because of a short film that you're working with my husband. And I wanted to ask you, like, what have you learned from it, or if there's any valuable lessons from there, or what was it like working with him?
I never expected that it's going to be such is a milestone that brings me back to wanting to connect with myself, the true self again.
Oh, yay! I'm so happy
Never
for you.
expected. I only thought I'm back to work with a wonderful actor, and it is directorial debut. Wanted to be part of this journey. I love the script. I didn't expect it to be this. I think I'm going to leave for Paris and rethink about how I see myself. Right from down from the most basic, how I see my face. Because your husband made me remove all makeup, including my never removed before fake eyelashes. And people don't understand the importance of my fake eyelashes. It's not just fake eyelashes. My fake eyelashes gave me my double eyelid. Can you imagine? I have that on since I was in my 20s, right? So I've never let anyone see me without it. Yeah. But your husband, during imaging, look at me and say, your eyelashes, this thing like that is not going to work for the big screen. Maybe it worked on TV. I don't know how you managed, but it's just going to, you think it's beautiful, but it is taking away everything that we are seeing in your eyes. So it took a lot. I mean, I trust him, and also maybe the timing is right. I'm also at a stage where it's okay. You see, if I'm ugly, or if I'm not confident, it's okay. So I worked with him and the makeup artist. We removed everything. True enough, I couldn't get used to myself looking that way. But so funny. We shot. So I had that no makeup look, no eyelashes, my original look that I was born with for that 4 days. After shooting ended, after that, putting on the eyelashes was something that was unnatural. In fact, today when I came I told myself, today I'm going to a podcast. Cannot. I must look very the original, nice. The nice and all that. Then today I put on, I'm like, okay, let me go back to Paris. I'm going to just throw away all the eyelashes. No need already. No need. Because I'm so comfortable with the original Sharon Au look already. So that's why. And it's very strange. It's something as simple as putting on or removing eyelashes, but it was a whole weight off my shoulders and my entire being. I feel so light. I can blink anytime I want. I rub my eyes anytime I want. I cry if I want. And
without fearing that it will drop and
droop, So there are a lot of things you cannot do. And also, it was a pretense. So your husband was correct. I have been pretending to be something else all my life because someone told me this is more beautiful. So my definition of beauty has always been in someone's eyes, never in how I truly look. And so I never felt that I was accepted at all, right? Even until today.
Right.
So I never knew that it has something to do with the way I presented myself to the public.
Right.
So that's why this film, this whole experience, never knew that the outcome will be this, that I will reconnect with myself again. In fact, you were the one, your husband told me, Joanne said, why don't you ask Sharon to do this role? Because actually, you was looking at so many other options here. But he kept saying he wasn't able to just say, yeah, this is the one. Then one day I think you look at him also very confused and you just say, what about Sharon? Then you said, Sharon's in Paris.
Yeah.
Very far away. Will she fly back? And then we fly her back. So expensive. Must pay a ticket. No, but yeah, he told me you were the one who planted this name in his consciousness.
Yay.
Yeah.
So I've got a little part to play. I want to take some credit
A
here.
big part. A big part.
Yeah. I mean, I look at you and we always have very brief encounters. And then including when we were in Paris for a day and we met up, I always felt like, you can live more free. And like I said in my introduction, I think I'm probably not alone. Many of us, when we grow up, we want to be Sharon Au. We look at you and we're like, wow, you've done so many things and you've got all this going on for you. But yet there's a part of you that I see that I feel you can't let go. And it's always sort of, deep down inside, your part of me feels like, wow, I think I'll be so excited to see where you fly when you can finally let all that go, like where you will be, but I mean, it's not something that, people can tell you. And I didn't want to be also like one of those, like well-meaning friends who would tell you something, but actually give you more pressure. Yeah. So, it's always, I look at you and I think that there's a lot that you can achieve if you're able to let all that go.
Yeah. And I really hope, that's why I really want to also talk about this with you in your podcast, because your podcast is about what do I know? People will start to understand that we present a certain side, but that's not the full picture. We have so many demons that we deal with on a daily basis, down to the way we look. So can you imagine that nobody will believe, right, that I'm so insecure about my face when actually I presented myself to be, supermodel Paris Fashion Week every day, taking photos everywhere, and being very happy and joyous, seeking a new life. So I want people to know as well that in tandem, there's always this side where, wow, if only you knew, you would know the struggle and the conflict that you deal with yourself. So that's why back to the having a partner would be great, because then there's someone who can tell you you're okay the way you are, which was what your husband did to the group of actors.
Yep.
You are okay the way you are. And nobody has ever told me that. People always tell you, please do better. Please cut your eyelid. Please do something about your teeth. Please do something about this and that.
So I'm glad that we are able to connect that way and that you have been so brave to share all your demons with our listeners here so they get perspective and they know that, don't take everything at face value. Don't see everything and assume that that is what it is.
Yes.
There are a lot of stories that we may not be comfortable to share at that point in time, but doesn't mean that, we won't in some day to come.
Yes.
So thank you so much, Sharon, for joining me today. Before you go, I have something for you.
Oh my God. Another present?
I got a present for you.
I already have a pair of shoes.
Okay, so this is a gift. The box is just a prop. So everything else inside is something that I put together for you. You can... you probably don't know half of what it is. So it's, okay, you can say maybe very auntie stuff.
Hang on. This is 泡脚.
Yes.
This is the foot bath.
Yes. So everything to do with the feet, right? If you
My
notice.
God, yes. And happy socks. You're trying to keep me grounded, right? But can I tell you something very uncanny? Just last night at dinner, because my friend Zhao Laoshi, she touched my hand. She said, oh, you have too much coldness in your body. So you have to 泡 your 脚. You have to soak your feet every day. She said, can you promise me every night from now, soak your feet? Because you are emitting like
cold air.
It's bad. And then now you have...
Wow.
You have the foot soak, the foot bath.
Oh my goodness. I think I have telepathy or something.
I think you have...
I was there last night, but I didn't hear the conversation that you had.
Because you're sitting right at the other end.
Yes. So this, I wanted to give this to you because, I think you're in Paris and then, the Europeans, they don't really...
No, we don't have this.
不养生啊. The Europeans, they don't really
and there's no such thing as heat or heaty or cold.
Yeah. So this is, please promise me you'll do it.
I will do this, especially this sticker on my soul.
And this sticker thing as well. I personally, I've tried it. So I told myself I'm going to commit to doing it because I think there are like 15, I think. Or something. So I do it every single day. So commit yourself to do it every single day.
I must.
And then put on the socks. And I wanted to give you some warmth with the socks, like 温暖啦, 送温暖.
Yeah, and you wanted to keep me grounded as well. I love that. I love that message. So that even though I'm walking on foreign land, on cobblestone pavement, but I would still always have a piece of home.
Yes.
Grounding me on my feet.
Yes. So I just want to thank you for spending time with me
so
today.
much.
And this is my little gift to you.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you to the team as well. This is really very helpful.
Yay.
Oh my God. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you. All right. So we can say bye, dogs. Okay. Bye-bye.
Goodbye. Have a good life. Enjoy everything. Enjoy your life and just be.
Don't forget to like and subscribe. If you have any well wishes for Sharon, please write them in the comment section because I know she'll be reading them. And with that, we wrap up our 3rd season of What Do I Know with me, Joanne Pei. We'll be taking a short break, but you can check out all 30 episodes of the podcast on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts, if you haven't already. We've got some exciting ideas brewing and can't wait to bring you more in season 4. Thank you so much for tuning in. Bye.